and welcome along to Formula Virtual Racing Academy. It is the final round of the season, and if you've found this channel, good stuff. Unfortunately, the main commentator, Jake, is unfortunately not around at this moment in time, so I'm currently on my own, and since I've been thrown in to sort of test my own YouTube streaming abilities, there's already a retirement. That's Carl Davidsay out, exiting the pit lane. That's obviously not a great mistake for him to make. That doesn't shine the best light on him. But before we get to any of that, my name is Alex the G, and I'm sort of here to test out the YouTube capability, as well as right now being the solo commentator with Jake joining sooner or later, as he has had some issues on his way. But obviously, Spa-Francorchamps today is going to be the final round, the title decider, in fact, between Tyler Davison in the McLaren, whose competition, in fact, Avesta Gobardi, is currently not in the session. So it could, in fact, be a bit anticlimactic this final round, as he is already eyeing to overtake the AlphaTauri of, I'm having to learn names here, of Sam Crumpton. There we go. But we do have our first hot lap on his way now. Borbuna in the Williams will be taking us through a hot lap of Spa-Francorchamps into turn 1 around the 100-meter board to break for La Source. Gets a very nice apex here into turn 1 out of La Source. A good exit is required onto this long flat out bit, which starts out with the fast flat left-hander Eau Rouge, right hand up Radion, and then onto the Camel Straight. DRS assistance will be here in the race from lap 3 onwards, and the top speeds will be reached on this main straight. The first sector line is crossed with a 30.4 in the first sector into Lecom. Fourth gear stuff, right, left, and then right again, as that is Malmedy. Oh, he spins around there on the exit of Malmedy. Is lucky to get away with that, as we have an Aston Martin of Liam Carrick passing, who has also invalidated this lap. Red Bull coming behind there of Brendan White, as he is on his out lap, so we'll have to go on the lookout for anybody on a fast lap. We do have Harry Delaney in the Ferrari, who is on a fast lap right now. Fifth gear, in fact, through this section here. Lecom and then Malmedy misses the apex maybe a little bit. We'll have a look what the Ferrari man can do. Bruxelles, a very awkward downhill hairpin. Looks like a lot of steering input in my eyes, as he comes here into turn 9. No-name corner. Exiting this is going to be very important, and he is taking the eSport line, which doesn't work anymore, mate. Puan then. A very fast left-hander. Oh, that is way too quick from him, as there's a Mercedes in the runoff area, as that will be Liam Huisman. But into Le Fagnes, or Piff Paff as the locals refer to it. Let's have a look on the exit. Not invalidating here is very important in achieving lap time, as well as here getting a good exit and onto La Droite Paul Frère and the Blanchiment section. A very long flat out bit which heads into the final chicane. The bus stop chicane, as it was formerly known. Now it's just the chicane, if I'm not quite mistaken. We'll have a look if there's any lap times coming in from the drivers before that. Blaze Tim, that will be, let me check. Tim Den Heijer, there we go, from the Netherlands, taking the fastest lap of the session now. Harry Delaney, 45.1, is currently a second off that. So you have Tyler Davison on pole position at the moment by about a tenth. In fact, immediately eclipsed there by Sam Crumpton in the AlphaTauri. Strong lap from him. As we have Leighton Spite joining in the second Red Bull alongside Brendan White. Hopefully for this title decider we'll have Avesta Gobardi join as well. As well, we've had the second AlphaTauri already retiring as well. That will be Scott Sandiver, who has retired from the session with an accident. Says the spin. Is that Liam Carrick? No, it's his teammate then, Tim Den Heijer, who must have either had a mistake or let somebody go at the exit of the Bruxelles corner. Anybody fast on a lap time right now? We do have Luke Davis at the moment, who's on a lap heading through the middle sector. See if there's anyone else. Is that Sam Mills? Let me see. Is that the correct name? My word, I'm sorry for this. It is Seb Mills. There we go. Seb Mills, who has had an off there at the Blanchiment corner. A bit interesting to go off in that position. The other Aston Martin as well, in fact. FRA Liam. Oh, Going a bit deep there, that's the bus stop chicane, so must have got the other one then. Tim Den Heye is just letting everybody go, he spins around, out of the session. Liam Carrick is out of qualifying, and that is not a good look for him at all. I believe Liam Huisman, someone's come across the line. There we go, it is Brendan White who puts the car into 4th at the moment. The gap is very pulled apart though so far. Borbuna goes 6th fastest in a 46.6. There's a lot of time in that lap for sure. We have the sole house on the grid today. Neil Kieran, the Irishman, gonna start a hot lap fairly soon. Chloe Glennon as well on the track now on her first outlap of this session in the Ferrari. Her teammate Harry Delaney currently in P5. As she'll be eyeing to get a decent grid spot. But for now, I'll quickly check if there's anybody on the fast lap and then see if there has been any invites from my other commentator. Let's have a look. I have been mentioned. Yes, there we go. So it's gonna be Jake joining very shortly. Apologies for the blue screen, as here we are then. Hey, good evening. Hey, good evening. See, a bit late, but I mean, that happens. Can't control it sometimes. Here we are. Yeah. I mean, well, it happens sometimes, I suppose. I covered up for the rest of the time, so we're in the middle of quali, and yeah, very interesting, definitely. Ooh, that is a retirement. And I have to look at names. That is Habib. I have not written that name very well. Makuk, there we go. He's crashed out of the session by the looks in the Radeon section. And I think I'll actually have to turn up your volume a little bit because see. Yes. Right, there we go. I've got that sorted. Are you in the session or do you need an invitation? Ah, great. Okay. Then just tell me when you're in and then we'll go from there. So I'm the co for today anyways, so you'll be leading the way. Is anybody on a fast lap right now? It is Chloe actually, Chloe Glennon on a fast lap. In the middle sector coming through No Name Corner at the moment, the second Ferrari driver on this grid. Over the grass there on the exit and entering Puon. Let's have a look, how is this corner looking? It's like a fairly solid run from her. Ooh. That is a notification that I actually don't want to be seeing. Internet connection's not enough, that is strange. Ooh. Leighton Spite is out of the session as well. That's also an accident in Eau Rouge Radeon. Very treacherous corner it proves to be today. It's on board with Chloe Glennon now through Blanchimont. Here she comes. It's a flat corner this, obviously. No issues in the dry. First stop chicane. Good first apex, second apex as well. Short shifts immediately to third gear, and then what is the lap time going to be across the line? It is fourth fastest of 44.124, just 2/100ths behind Tim Den Heye in the Aston Martin. So good effort from her, and she's probably looking to give her teammate a slipstream. Harry Delaney coming behind and onto the Camel Straight. That is going to look like some very good team play from the Ferrari. Yep. Indeed, yeah, I have seen it that obviously Liam Huisman is the only Mercedes today showing up, and the Westergaard has not shown any signs of appearing. That's another spin there in the Radeon section. Ooh! Is that Delaney? Yeah, on the exit of No Name Corner. Ooh! See, on board with Luke Davis. Oh, that's fairly late into the exit as well, so that must have been a big snap of oversteer, hasn't it? certainly in race trim. I haven't seen any abnormal straight line speed differences between the drivers, so it seems like a dry race to me. But yeah, obviously time will tell about that one. So that's Sam Crompton, fastest of the session so far, first man to dip into the 42s. Let's have a look then through the bus stop chicane. Needs a good run through here. First bit is negotiated nicely. Second one, very good apex and a good exit. Is this going to be a good lap time? P3 behind his teammate. See if anybody else is currently on a representative level. Looks like Seb Mills is at the moment exiting No Name Corner right now. Looks like a very committed run from him. Let's see that then through Puon. This is obviously always a very difficult corner in this middle part, but very good on the track limits. Very wide, used up all the track on the entry and on the middle part in fact as well. Let's see, Leifania goes out wide for the first bit to get a better swinging run here for the second part. Stavilo corner as well, misses the apex slightly, gets a slight touch of oversteer there. 16.9 in the middle sectors. Doesn't look like a very impressive lap from him so far, but onto this Paul Frère straight and the Blanchiment corner. Let's see where that lap time could put him. Obviously 6 retirements already from this qualifying session. Yeah, it doesn't look like a very strong lap time from him so far, does it? So, oh, he crashes! Oh my word, there at Radion on his in-lap, loses his front wing. He'll be lucky to get another lap time in now, as he'll have to head back to the pit lane with that damaged car. Ooh, that is definitely going to put a little bit of extra pressure on him. Now we'll have everybody into the pit lane shortly, other than Chloe Glennon, who's already on the track, looking to avoid the traffic maybe. That will come inevitably later on. However, we will probably only have 10 cars on the track unless Seb Mills wants to make it out really quickly. And so on this 7-kilometer track it shouldn't pose too much of an issue. Though you never know, there could always be a little traffic jam into that chicane. We've seen it enough times in real life, so never bank on anything with these these drivers trying to get a lap time in as late as possible into the session. Got McLaren rejoining as well. That is Tyler Davison joining the track as well. From then on we might have to wait, as it is still 3 minutes to go, so some drivers will be eyeing to go out extra late to get the best possible track conditions. Yeah, I think now the track will be getting a bit more stacked. We've got Liam Huisman heading out on his lap now. However, Chloe Glennon already starting her fast lap, so I might just keep an eye on her for now. Out of La Source and onto this long flat out section. Looks like the skies have actually clouded up a little bit as well, but I don't think there's going to be any rain coming down in this session, as that's an invalidation there. And that means Chloe Glennon will have to wait a little bit longer. Might have to just abort this lap to get a lap in later on. Ooh, very unlucky at this point in the session. She does look like she is pushing fairly, yeah, relatively significantly, although ERS is not going down by too much. have a look quickly at the telemetry. She actually is using the ERS, so I suppose that would have been her final attempt. No more fuel in the tank to launch another attack at a fast lap. Meaning we'll have to keep an eye out on the rest of the drivers, like Tyler Davison, now starting his fast lap and heading into La Source. Obviously the strong driver in this season and will be the champion if Avesta Gobardi doesn't show up, and to this time he still hasn't, with just over a minute to go, meaning Tyler does have some very good chances to claim the championship here today in Spa-Francorchamps, this super historic venue. And down this Camel Straight, let's see his first sector, as that'll be a good indication as to where his lap's going to stand. He's well over a 10th up, so it is looking very good, as that is Chloe now out of the session, understandably. Does not put up another lap time now. Now through the Bruxelles section, this very slow, awkward right-hand hairpin for Davison. No-name corner, very tricky exit, trickier than you might think, but manages to negotiate it very well. And now through Pouon, how is this run going to be for him? Not using that many liberties on the track limits, but it might not be necessary at this point, as he's only trailing pole position by around a 10th of a second. Now through Le Fagnes, a very fun chicane, I must say, to drive, and Stavlo corner getting a good exit. It's very important. 4/10ths up, very much heading for pole. Oof, that was really close to the wreck of Sepp Mills' Alfa Romeo. And it's looking absolutely amazing for him right now, as long as he gets those last two corners right, and it looks like he has. No big exit troubles for him, and it's 42.7. Going on to pole by 2.5 tenths. Does anybody have an answer to that? Oof! Indeed, he is very late here. Far later than his teammate, and in the middle sector, 2/10ths up, though doesn't match the lap time, I don't think, of Davison. So it might have to come down to a very strong last sector if he wants to put this car onto the front row. Currently trailing 8/10ths to his teammate, so it's looking very difficult to challenge for pole. But a front row with a good last sector might well be in reach for the second McLaren. So let's have a look. The final chicane, a very crucial corner to get right. It does look like a good last sector, so Luke Davis improves, but only by 2/10ths, and stays in third fastest, which is still a good position, obviously, and might well be the best position to be before this race start. Yes, indeed. We are just waiting for Liam Huisman to retire from the session, or to be pushed into his garage, and then that will be it for the qualifying session, and that will be Tyler Davison on pole position. It is. Well, obviously it is unlucky that we won't get a title showdown between the two protagonists of Davison and Gobardi, but in the end, what can you do? It is sealed now by the looks, and Tyler Davison will be looking to sign this season off with a bang and with a high, with a very good performance here in Spa, already starting it off with a pole position, so looking very strong from the McLaren driver and the team in general. So, before lights out, what are you thinking about this? And I think as well, with the amount of retirements we've had in qualifying, will there be a lot of practice going on from all the drivers? It might well be a case of trying to stay consistent and showing a a bigger learning curve than your opponents, if you will. So we are hoping that obviously there won't be that many issues with 16 drivers on the grid, and the race probably about to commence soon. I just want to ask the question: is the formation lap on or off? Oh. Well, that is, yeah. What can you do about that? You just do it as soon as you can, then it's going to be fine. As we have, well, I'll be doing the start sequence then. Alrighty, so we'll have a look immediately if that race is getting underway soon, immediately, or if we have a formation lap. That looks like a formation lap, yes indeed. So we'll have a little bit of time as Ferrari, Harry Delaney getting a bit of an early start here. Pretty getting all the details that I need. Detail tire, there we go. That looks very good. Here we are. So we have the top 5 starting on the hard compound tires. So both McLarens, as well as Sam Crompton on the hards. Tim Denhyer in the Aston Martin on the hard compound tires. Chloe Glennon as well on hards in the Ferrari. Haas of Neil Kerrin is starting on the mediums as the first driver in P6. Brendan White again on the hard compound tires. 3 medium runners behind them with Harry Delaney, Seb Mills and Boel Boone. Liam Huisman in the Mercedes on the hards in 11th. Then we have 12th to 14th with Habib McCook, Kyle Davidson as well as Scott Sandiva on the medium tires. We have 15th and 16th of, let's have a look quickly, Leighton Spite and Liam Carrick on the hard compound tires, and then 17th obviously will pull into the pit lane at the end of lap 1, maybe even end of the formation lap. Actually, that doesn't work. Oh, that's an Alfa Romeo, that is. Of Seb Mills, who might have had an off there on the formation lap. That's obviously not the best way to warm your tyres. There are definitely more efficient ways than that. As Harry Delaney has been disqualified, so has Liam Carrick. So hopefully no tyre temperature issues for them. I believe that is not a problem anymore, but still it is not the best thing to be sitting on that grid for a while. So soon, we already in fact have Tyler Davison in the final corner, where there are still drivers heading through the middle sector, now only crossing that final sector line. So that would be a long wait on the grid. Oh, indeed. It's indeed, yeah. This was a bit of a scruffy formation lap from the Alfa Romeo driver. Obviously, don't see that too often, but as I said, maybe through qualifying, hopefully there will be a bigger learning curve from the drivers as they approach this race in Spa-Francorchamps, which is relatively soon going to get underway, as that is a disqualification for Habib, probably for parking. Habib Makoug, obviously, from Lebanon, and yeah, another one there with Scott Sandiva, but soon this race is going to get underway. It is green flag now, so that means that Belgian Grand Prix is going to get underway soon. As here we are, if it resets my leaderboard, the 5 red lights are now coming on for the Belgian Grand Prix in Formula Virtual Racing Academy. It is lights out, and away we go. Tyler Davidson is trying to get a good start here, but it is a great start, in fact, from Sam Crompton, immediately getting alongside. There is contact between the pair of them. But now on the inside, oh, Crompton has to take the escape road. That means Tim Denhyer moves up to 3rd. Sam Crompton keeps his 2nd place for the moment, but Luke Davis has lost that place to the Aston Martin. It looks like a fairly clean run from everybody here, with Tyler Davison leading the way. But now there's an incident there. Seb Mills is out of the race. Must have been an accident there in the Radeon section, and that is a virtual safety car for the moment. It might well turn to a full safety car. We'll have a look how that one develops. But for now, it is Tyler Davison keeping the lead from Sam Crompton in 2nd, Tim Denhyer in P3, Davis in 4th in the other McLaren. Chloe Glennon keeps 5th position in the first Ferrari. Boel Boone up to P6 on those medium tyres. If I'm not mistaken, quickly going to change the detail to position change if I find it. There we go. Yes, indeed. one of the biggest gainers on this race start, from 10th all the way up to 6th. In fact, it remains a virtual safety car. Brendan White in 7th in the Red Bull keeps his starting position. In fact, Lebanese driver Habib Makoub gaining 4 places and up to P8. Oh, indeed, that is. Leighton Spite in the Red Bull is around and loses all that ground that he has gained as the virtual safety car is now back. Oh, that is a spin as well. Yes, indeed. Liam Carrick's made a mistake here and probably misjudged his traction here on this virtual safety car restart. Now there's a spin going on for the second AlphaTauri. Yes, indeed. That is Scott Sandiva around at the exit of Paul Frere corner. Actually, Stavolo, that is. There we go. And is now going to get overtaken by Liam Carrick on the outside. But for now, oof, there's some contact made there at the back. But for now, Tyler Davison restarts this second lap in the lead with Sam Crumpton trailing him all the way very close to the back of that McLaren as Mike gaps are completely messed up. I hope they reset themselves eventually. Currently Blaze Tim is a minute and 55 ahead of second place driver Crumpton, which is obviously not correct. But that AlphaTauri is looking very, very racy on the back of the McLaren. Is there anything he can do on this straight already, or will he wait it out until the DRS comes up and is enabled in this Grand Prix? Nothing to be doing just yet for the AlphaTauri. Retirement obviously for Jay Scarborough, but yeah, he'll be back in the box with me now. As that is a retirement there. Radion. Oh, could that cause a safety car now? That is Scott Sandiva. It is currently only a yellow flag. It looks like it will stay like that. Obviously good for the racing aspect. Yep, indeed, he's already gone, so no safety cars, no threat of a safety car here. And I may not have proper gaps, but it looks like visually that Aston Martin of Tim Den Hayen is already well over a second behind Sam Crumpton. Ooh. Oh, that is indeed both of them, in fact. Oh, spinning there in synchronization. That is not what you want to see as a Williams team. Kyle Davidsay had a spin himself, actually, in Puon, and now gets past both of them. So up to P10 again, but obviously not the kind of first laps you want to see from the drivers. And yeah, that is a big struggle there for Habib Makouk. Oh, indeed, Sam Crumpton is now getting past Davison. But is there going to be a battle going on? Obviously, that will be DRS for the AlphaTauri man, as he is behind at the detection point. Ooh, only coming late here. But it doesn't seem like he can do anything for now. A good defense put up by the McLaren as Luke Davis behind him, making a move on Tim Den Hayen and up into P3. Will there be any sort of defense offered from the Aston Martin man? Let's have a look to the inside of Bruxelles. Not really an overtaking spot, but a slight lock up there from Luke Davis. Oh, indeed. Indeed, Harry Delaney there spun around. Oh. So a lot of mistakes happening at this race start. Yeah, it must have been track limits at this point, though. It's pretty difficult in spot. Carl Davidson with another spin, if I'm not mistaken, or has he just made a mistake there in Puon as he's lost positions again? Oh, that is Sam Crumpton! Oh, and another crash! Chloe Glennon and Liam Huisman out of the race. That must be a safety car, surely. That is 2 cars out. And if that's... Ah, there we have the safety car. I'm glad this one's actually come out, or I would have doubted the in-game FIA, because they are definitely not as incompetent as the real FIA sometimes are. Now I'm quickly going to change the detail to the tires now, as that will be an important focus now. Whoop, apologies. So does Carl Davidson out of the session as well. We've had 6 retirements here on the 4th lap already, so it's either the practice running low or the motivation going low. Oh, that is very. That must be at the pit entry. It's probably he might have hit the inside wall and then put back on the track. Because can't imagine another way of how he would end up there with missing a wheel. It was right on the racing line, though it's just a pretty early spot to be teleported back to, so I'm not sure what happened there. I haven't quite seen that, but obviously only 11 drivers left now in the 4th lap. Hopefully it doesn't end up in a race of total attrition, but right now it does show signs of being so. Certainly going to be, well, definitely less traffic issues if you want to see it that way, but obviously if there were to be more safety cars coming out towards the mid part, maybe that could spice up strategies too. Davison really wide there. Hopefully that's no track limit warning there from him. So there's the Aston Martin behind as well. Certainly I'll quickly check what tyres he's been on before. So the race director sends me straight back on the broadcast. Great stuff. He's been on the medium tyres, so I'd imagine it could be that he only put this soft tyre on to now go to the hard compound, although he could have just gone on the hard compound immediately, so maybe he is trying to go for that sprint, hoping for another safety car to come out right in the pit window, and then he would have profited from it. However, it's hard to imagine, as we've had already a lot of retirements, and will there be more joining this soon already? Obviously, drivers will be eyeing to get a good restart, and oh, indeed. Ooh. Hopefully there's no issues for the pair of them. It doesn't seem like it, because there can be obviously that weird illegal overtake glitch. But it seems like it's okay for them, unless Davison is slowing down overly much. I don't think he is, so no issues there. Bourboon indeed on the hard tires now, looking to go maybe to the end of this race. This is definitely possible. Tire wear will certainly be a factor towards the end, but it is possible for him to go to the end. We've also got Leighton Spite on the hard compound tires now, though it is a used set also for Harry Delaney with a used set of mediums. So he will have to push quite a lot to get those working properly, and we may see this as the final safety car lap for the moment. Oh, that is well, that will be the final lap of the safety car, since nobody else has to catch up now, with Leighton Spite almost caught up to the field already. A very interesting way to take yourself out of the race, but yeah, can't change that now. Ooh. Well, yeah, that is out of the window. I'm not sure how do you crash in this situation? It looked extremely unusual. In a racer's mind, I would have either floored the throttle to go the left way, or just gone into reverse. I'd done it that way, but that was just a very clumsy way of trying that. If he tried at all, I mean, I don't want to accuse him of anything, but safety car will probably be coming in then. As indeed, yes. No, does he not? Oh wait, I have this somewhere, but I'll have to find that first. Let's have a look. Yes. Doesn't score 8th and fastest lap. Or probably 7th here. Yeah, indeed, and he's obviously controlling the pace of this restart, going at a relatively normal time. So Tyler Davison, no nonsense restart, keeps this lead and is looking to extend that gap as Sam Crumpton already looking to make the move on Brendan White. Does that immediately. Liam Carrick to the inside. Ooh, that was a very late move from the Aston Martin. Maybe trying to profit from that, as now I've got the Haas of Neil Kerrin trying to profit from these two, but they're side by side ahead. Who is going to back out of this one? Ooh, it is in fact the Haas, just about avoiding a coming together between him and the Red Bull. Ooh. Ooh. Indeed, a very nice move from him there, and Brendan White now sees himself one position lower and with possibly some of the worst hard compound tires, although the top 5 will be feeling the same about this, and they'll be trying to make the most of that hard compound tire set. I'm gonna stay on board with him for a little bit to see if there is anything going on. To my knowledge, he also doesn't use the ABS assist, so that would obviously hint at that, but there is also a bit of a visual issue that sometimes drivers just lock up massively no matter what they do in spectator mode. So we'll look at this final chicane then. It looks fairly normal to me. That lockup is quite normal to happen at this stage. Particularly this early on in the race, the tyres won't be too worn, but still. Oh. Oh no, it's going to be a great tow here down this Camel Street. Oh, Sam Crumpton there. Moving very late. Look at the Haas getting involved again to the inside. Oh, is that going to be 3 wide until they come? Oh. Liam Carrick indeed having to go take evasive action there. And now Brendan White is on the back of him again, although it doesn't seem to be threatening, as Leighton Spite does pick up a 3-second penalty. Right now, though, in last place. And still finishing in the points, if you will. But obviously the battles ahead currently very, very heated. We do have Tyler Davison though with a 3-second gap over Tim Den Heijer, there we go. Still the name game. Sam Crumpton though is trying to get on the back of that second McLaren now to see if he's got any more chance of maybe finishing on that podium. As ooh, a bit of a wide line there from Luke Davis. Not sure if that was intended, as it is losing him time all the way down this straight, and is losing him time to Tim Den Heijer as well. Certainly, it might well be a play on strategy, or pretend trying to speculate on a safety car later on, as the gap is already almost 5 seconds between Tyler Davison and Sam Crumpton. Though the AlphaTauri is now maybe looking to make that overtake. No DRS for Luke Davis, crucially, and that looks like a fairly easy move to make for the AlphaTauri. Will there be any defense put up from Luke Davis? No, and that is the AlphaTauri up into the podium places again, and chasing after Tim Den Heijer with a time penalty though to his name. So now the AlphaTauri will have to make the most of the pace that he evidently has, and try and maybe play a strategic mastermind over Tyler Davison. Oh, absolutely. His pace is looking one of the strongest in the field. Tyler Davison obviously looking very good now out front. Got clear air pretty much for all this time. No incidents really looking to happen either, as the field is relatively pulled apart. Nothing too much going on though. Sam Crumpton already on the attack, is trying to save up some of his ERS to not be a sitting duck later on, so that he can still push on after passing that Aston Martin, which is looking fairly inevitable now. Really close already to the back of the Dutchman that is Tim Den Heijer, and La Source will be a crucial exit for the AlphaTauri and for the Aston Martin too, obviously, in working out who will be ahead come the end of Sector 1. Ooh, so that is Luke Davis being challenged by the Haas driver of Karen. No moves to be happening there though. It just seems like a little bit of a disruption to the McLaren driver's race. It doesn't look like he's got the best pace today for sure. His teammate Tyler Davison in the lead, looking far better there in the moments, in this current moment. I would say probably on pace it's going to be extremely difficult. Tyre wear will be playing a big factor too. I've never seen anyone go seriously any longer than 15-16 laps, so it's going to be a stretch indeed, but it's not impossible. Oh my! Whoa! It's a great overtaking move indeed, and he's looking to make some inroads on the race leaders here. Or let's say on this P2, P3 train. Wow, a bit of traction issues there, and the McLaren is still well and truly on his back. However, looks like Karen will be trying to get DRS of the Aston Martin ahead. Will he be able to do that though? It doesn't seem like it. 1.2 seconds, and the detection point is right about here. So there is no DRS for the Haas driver, and he could see himself under threat from Luke Davis. Certainly be a very crucial factor for how the race is going to pan out for the Haas driver. If he gets himself into that DRS window, it will certainly be looking an awful lot better than what it is now, though you must say already in 4th place anyways, and that's the first driver who can go to the end if he wants to. Only Borbuna in P8 who can do the same thing. I believe in fact actually Habib Makouk, his teammate at Williams, could also do it if he wanted to, although it's certainly going to be a very difficult task. Oh, that is a safety car. Oh, at the halfway mark, we might see people already pitting for the medium tires. I will be honest here, as Tyler Davison into the pits. Let's have a look. What will Sam Crumpton do? He must. Yeah, he has to react to that. Oh. It's very difficult to make them last, but from my personal experience I can say it is possible. It will be a struggle towards the end, but it is possible for sure. And whether the tires will be better towards the end is going to be the big question, since Karen will have been on these tires for a very long time towards the end as well, so quite possibly the tires will be looking almost equal towards the end is what my prediction is. However, now we've got the two Williams in 2nd and 4th. Obviously not the best situation for Davison, who will have to get through these two as quickly as he can and then make the most of his tire advantages. He's looked commanding on those hards, so I don't imagine that it's going to be too different on the mediums, but having 2 cars ahead is always a difficult factor, particularly Borbuna, who's obviously been at the back for a big portion of this race, and will now obviously set after Karen in that race lead. Also, not having a time penalty yet to his name will help him. What I find even more interesting, in fact, is that everybody's already caught up, so it's quite possible the safety car is actually already coming in after just 1 lap of being on the circuit. Although, does the game allow for this? We are about to find out. That will help the medium runners. Definitely will. The normal pit window, I think, is about lap 13, 14. So having 1-2 laps under the safety car will definitely help these guys. But it certainly doesn't make the task any more simple, and plus you can almost think about a late safety car coming out as well, which would put everybody on the soft tires unless we have some gamblers who are trying to stay out on their old tires. But on such a long lap, I don't think it's worth it personally. Have a look if there's anybody. Ooh. Williams in the pit lane now again. That is Habib Marcoux. Let's see what tires that is. New mediums? Does he have a fresh set? No. 3 lap old mediums. Those are going to be a massive struggle to bring to the end. I can say that for sure. The fresher mediums. Ooh. It could be, although this will now be extremely difficult for Marcoux because he is already at the back. He's got the oldest medium tires, and there is not much chance that he can get through this field. I think he might have actually just cut the Eau Rouge corner, the first, obviously, left-hander at the bottom of the hill. I'll have to check if there's any warnings going on this particular lap. P9, let's see. There has not, actually, so that's good. That will help him for sure, but already, if we quickly change detail to penalties, 3 seconds for Marcoux, 3 seconds as well for Den Heijer, and 6 seconds for Karen. So I don't think he'll be able to pull out the 6-second gap. I was thinking he only had 1 penalty, but it is 2 penalties already, so him challenging for that victory is going to be extremely difficult. Pretty much an impossible task, because there'll have to be an apocalypse pretty much going on behind, wiping out every driver. But yeah, definitely difficult to go to the end on those old hards. Mediums won't be too much better. I just can't imagine that the tires will be ideal for any of the drivers right now. Certainly going to be a very interesting restart phase here, as we have seen moves from drivers already immediately at the restart, at the first restart that is. So I'm not really expecting too much less from Davison here, particularly with the big tire advantage. He's already had a big pace advantage on the same compound, let alone new, fresher tires. So I believe this is going to be a very explosive first few laps for the McLaren man as he looks to surge ahead in the pack again. As that is Karen now getting underway again, I think, before the final chicane. Yes, it is. Already pulling away, though Borbuna has predicted that restart very well, so he might well be challenging the Haas down into the Camel Straight and onto Lake Holm. Ooh. Borbuna definitely not looking like he's got those tires up to proper working temperature, but Davison will be trying to take advantage of this, and now in the braking zone he'll be profiting from the more grip, the medium tires of Scott, and that is a move already down for him. Second place for Davison, for the race leader through the entirety of this race so far, that now he's only got the Haas of Karen in front of him, and if this is anything to go by, then he should be dispatching off the Haas fairly soon. Oof. Indeed, we have the Haas and the McLaren very closely together. Will Davison be going for the move already down into this chicane? Maybe deploy some ERS after the Blanchiment left-hander? Or will he leave it for later? Indeed, he does turn on the overtake mode now. Will he go to the outside? Yes, he will. He'll turn to the inside if he can hold this around. And yes, of course he can, with the more grip on the tires. But it's a good defense put up by the Haas, and the McLaren man seems to be getting his way through now, but he's still there. On the inside is the Haas driver. Crumpton indeed into the pit lane now, so that is any chance of him coming back in this race ruined unless there is another safety car. He's out of the race, he's retired. I'm not sure how necessary that was, but Davison meanwhile is currently in the lead of this race. Will there be any more attack coming from Karen in the Haas? Obviously trying to use his ERS, using that overtake mode to try and get past the McLaren, but it looks like a losing battle now. And that is Davison in the lead after just 2 laps of the restart passing. And that looks like a very, very good situation for the McLaren, as Tim Den Heijer with more penalties. Borbuna now picking up a penalty as well, which will not be helping his cause. And to be honest, the McLaren want to maybe on the cards here, purely on penalties, if I'm looking at this. I might. It's just, I think it was just a random yellow. I haven't even seen another incident either, so it's just the game being the game, I suppose. Happens sometimes. So Davison already pulling out 1.5 seconds to the cars behind. If he just manages this set of tires home now, it should be a very simple case for him. Purple middle sector, he's now setting the pace and is probably about to set a fastest lap of the race here on these fairly fresh medium compound tires compared to the old hards that Karen will now have to be defending with. However, yeah. Ooh. Look at him putting pressure as well on Luke Davis ahead of him in that McLaren. However, Davis himself is trying to get that DRS from Borbuna, and oh my word, look at him closing in here. I don't think this is going to be too much of a defense put up by the Williams. Enough space left, just goes on the grass a little bit. Look at Liam Carragher coming through as well. On the outside, will he be taking profit of that into the following corner as well? No, he will not, and that'll be P4 and 5. 2 places lost on one straight for the Williams man, Borbuna. Although, oof, going off the track there. Lucky to get away with that, as it's Tim Den Heijer making a move there into the Bruxelles corner. A bit of an unusual overtaking spot, but he makes that one work for himself and moves himself up into second on the road. We'll have to see with penalties. Luke Davis has made it into the DRS of these two, meaning that he will currently be second. It will be a 1-2 at this stage. Absolutely will be. Aston Martin is looking fast throughout this entire race, really. It's often just been in the wrong place, the wrong time. Obviously had his off at the first virtual safety car as well. But with this many retirements and also with this racecraft obviously at times profiting from these incidents, he is now putting himself back into a position where he can attack. And currently as Tyler Davison now retakes the fastest lap. Bit of a slight there from Liam Carrick in P5. But gets away with that one. Is already clear of DRS range from Borbuna as well, who is being overtaken there by Brendan White in the Red Bull. Bit of contact made there on the exit, but P6 now for the Irishman in the Red Bull. And that means now 5 and 6 being occupied by the Irish drivers. Ooh. Seems like absolutely not over yet, but look at the exit that Tim Den Haya has got now to the outside. Oddly enough, that is his defense put up into Bruxelles. Not really a place where you usually see passes, like on the last lap. And now, if Tim Den Haya now gets a switch back into Puon, which he might be trying, that could be an invitation for Luke Davis behind. There has been a spin. Oh, and Liam Carrick has taken profit of this and taken that position from Luke Davis, who had to take avoiding action, which is not good for the McLaren man, as that is a driver he has to beat on the road. Ooh. Karen really struggling now on those hard tires. Liam Carrick is through and spins around. Ooh. A good 360 for him there. And also in the DRS range of Luke Davis, so it's almost gone to plan despite him not doing anything too significant. He's up to P4 and shows just how well you could do with consistency is the bigger factor than just raw speed. Or in general, if you have good amounts of practice put in, then it's going to be a fair bit easier than if you were to just going like this. Let's have a look what Karen does now in the pit lane. Hopefully that is for a set of softs and not a retirement from the race, which you have seen enough of already. Let's have a look now if he still had it at the detection point. I think he might just be lucky to have it, and he doesn't, no. So that is obviously not ideal for him. But Luke Davis looking to make that move again, and this is going to be an on-track fight of penalties to stay out of the equation for these two for that second place. Podium looking relatively booked in, depending on how Brendan White can remain close to these two. But it's certainly going to be a very difficult task for him, as these two are definitely some very quick drivers. Yes, indeed. Let's have a look through Lefania. The gap is actually staying very consistent here, but now it just dipped under a second. Looks like he's just hovering over that 1 second window all the time. It will now have to deploy a lot of battery to get back into the DRS window. Although I believe Luke Davis will be one to do the same. So that's Williams around. So that's Borbuna. Thankfully hasn't crashed, so he's kept it out of the barriers. But another big time loss for the Williams man, who is obviously not looking at a best race for him here. Luke Davis now really close to the back of that Aston Martin, as Brendan White is struggling. He can't keep it in the DRS and this moment. It is some pretty old hard compound, so I think at this point you might well be heading onto a new set of softs. Is it a wing change? Yes, it is indeed. Looks like some end plate damage there to the right side. And a new set of softs, maybe going for that fastest lap. Speaking of fastest lap, it should still belong to Tyler Davison. Yes, it does, and by a relatively clear margin, and he is just stretching his legs at the top there. 6.2 seconds out of the nearest competitor, so what a brilliant performance it's been from him. Oh, Liam Carrick! Oh! Well, that books in a McLaren 1-2 for the moment, and also moves Brendan White up into third, and there's definitely damage. Yes, indeed, a front wing is missing from that Aston Martin. Now, will it be bothered to continue? Oh, yes, indeed, they're at the exit of No Name Corner, if I see that correctly. Oh, yes, indeed, going wide there in Pouon. Let's have a look. What will Liam Carrick do in this situation? Will he continue with this race? Only 4 laps to go. He will obviously be heading into the pit lane to get a new front wing on that car. At least he doesn't speed. It's often an invitation that people don't want to race anymore, but it looks like he will be continuing on for those final 4 laps of the race. Good on him, but yeah, obviously a very, very unlucky mistake to make in this part of the track. And it all but books in that McLaren 1-2 unless Brendan White can do something about it. Yeah, it is 8 laps for the top 4, and then it's 10 laps again for Makuk in P5. So still, they are again they're not in their best phase anymore, but I believe they should all be making it to the end relatively fine with some conserving. Still not going to be the easiest task unless the safety car now comes out. If it was to come out at this stage, which I believe on this lap it still can. If the safety car doesn't come out on lap 21, then there should be no more threat of a safety car in the race. So I think we should be good realistically at this stage with safety cars, and we should be going to the end like this. Meaning some conserving, not too much I suppose, but definitely some still going on. Oh, wow. Oh my word, so that must have been a really dominant season for the 2 McLaren guys. Obviously very good job from them at this rate, because they have earned it for themselves, and now they've both stayed out of trouble. Obviously Luke Davis had his moment with, who was that again? That was Karen, I think, in the Haas. As that is Paul Booner with the fastest lap, 45.0. I believe it was the Haas who had the incident with Tim Denhyer in the Pouon corner, and then Luke Davis having to take evasive action, losing the place to Carrick, but then Carrick making his mistake at the exit of Stefania, which assured really the latter of that second place finish. Which, I mean, if I put a curse on him now, then I apologize in advance, but it doesn't look like there's anything too much going on. That's a time penalty for Brendan White, but seemingly 10-second gap behind, it shouldn't matter to him too much. At least, though, in an attacking sense, there's probably not much going to go on in the remainder of this race anymore. Ooh. Oh my. So is this going to be, has there been any race between Brazil and now? Because I'm obviously not quite aware. So is that going to be 6 in a row then for Davison? What a season this is! Fantastic stuff from him. Ooh. So obviously a pendulum swinging around in the championship when those first few wins came up for Davison, and now he's bringing a very commanding performance to the table here in Spa again. Almost 10 seconds is the gap now to his teammate, and he is not looking like slowing down. And still got enough ERS as well if he wants to push for that fastest lap, although the aging tires will not be making that too easy. However, looking at the tires themselves, they look relatively fine. I've seen better, but they look decent enough for their age, so shouldn't be any issues for either of the McLarens. Also, Brendan White in P3. I think that should be going to the end fairly smoothly, as it is the second last time that Tyler Davison is heading through this bus stop chicane and is about to start the final lap of this race. Yeah, I'm sure that won't matter to him anymore too much. He didn't need a very high finish, but already starting on pole position, it was going to be a trend for him that he was trying to make sure of this championship just by staying in this lead position. He was challenged by the AlphaTauri of Sam Crompton, who then retired a decent portion into this race, so no more challenges really remained for the Brit in the lead in that McLaren, with his teammate 10.5 seconds behind him in second place. And now heading through Pouhon, such a tricky fast corner for the last time in this Grand Prix. The middle sector is almost negotiated for Tyler Davison, who has had a fantastic season and is about to pick up his 6th victory in a row, and more crucially, he will be picking up his World Championship here in Formula Virtual Racing Academy. Using up all his overtake mode now, probably down this back straight, back bit into Blanchiment, and trying to go for as quick a lap time as he can, just draining out all the fuel, all the ERS that he's got in his car. But now into the final chicane, one last braking point around 100 meters in front of that chicane. He slows down for the corner, slow run through this final chicane, and now with a last exit, Tyler Davison wins the Belgian Grand Prix and wins the World Championship in Formula Virtual Racing Academy. What a brilliant season it's been, and he rounds it out with an absolutely commanding performance. His teammate Luke Davis makes it a McLaren 1-2, with Brendan White finishing 3rd in the Red Bull. Tim Denhyer is going to come home in P4, though we'll see if that'll change on the time penalties, with Liam Carrick fast approaching. An unlucky race really for him, as he will claim the fastest lap and stay in 5th place, 1.111 seconds behind his teammate. The Williams of Habib McCook finishing in P6, with Borbuna, his teammate, actually jumping him on the penalties. So P6 Borbuna, P7 for McCook, and P8 is going to belong to Neil Karen in the Haas, who, well, he was in the lead at some point, but he just couldn't make those hard tires work against the fresh mediums. So now on the newer softs, making that late pit stop, obviously didn't come to anything in the end, but he will round out this race, and Tyler Davison is crowned champion. What a commanding performance from him today. And I mean, what a way to sign off at the end of this season. And McLaren 1-2, it just showed that these guys always had the power on the rest of the grid. As they come out onto the podium now, Tyler Davison is your race winner here on Friday evening in Formula Virtual Racing Academy. Never in doubt, really. And as all his challengers and contenders dropped out, he kept his cool, extended his lead more and more, and will now keep this championship trophy for himself. 6 victories in a row, as you have said previously. It's a fantastic performance over the course of the season. To come back from a slow start, he has picked up the pieces and is now crowned the champion of Formula Virtual Racing Academy. And indeed, obviously a race of attrition in the end of the season. Maybe the motivation wasn't as high anymore, the practice morale wasn't the same either, but it was still great to see some stellar performances out on track today. And what a way to crown a champion, really. It has never been in doubt. He only needed to finish in P7 with Avesta Gobardi, obviously not in the session, but he had to make it in style. He rounded off with another race win. And what a way for him to sign off here. Yep, it is indeed. It's been a great run in this race. Obviously started with some slight issues, but we can look past that now that we have completed the broadcast, and it was great to bring this race to you. Obviously, my first appearance here. It's been definitely a case of trying to learn names as quickly as possible. I think I did a relatively decent job towards that, towards the end of that. So, yeah, definitely been a great experience here today, and I'm really happy to bring this race to you. And in fact, as this was a test for me as well, if my YouTube streams held up, it did. So that is some fantastic news for me, and I know what I have to do in order to make these streams last, which is, for me, it's a brilliant piece of news. And I hope it continues this way, because that way I will be able to bring more content to you, whether it be on this channel, it's on different channels as well. But obviously this channel, Formula Virtual Racing Academy, this is the main focus here, and so we will leave you on this one. A great race in Belgium comes to an end, and so does our stream. We thank you all for watching tonight, for tuning in to our stream. I have been Alex, he has been Jake, and that means... is the season over now? I think it is, right? Is there? Oh my, so how early if they clinch this Constructors' Championship? That's fantastic from the McLaren boys. Absolutely brilliant. Alrighty, so I think on that note we'll be saying goodbye to the stream, and yeah, great to share the commentary box with you, and until next time, we'll see when I'll be on here next time, but I suppose we've had some great content come our way on this channel, so until next time, and I say goodbye.